And on a whim, I said, "Hey, Inky, if any chance, could you jump on a Zoom call with us on Friday?" And he said, "Absolutely, he would." So I can't thank Inky enough to come in and spend a few moments with us. We promised him we wouldn't take too much time. But Inky, if you could just say a few words, and we really appreciate you. And all of us love the fact when you wore that Kavaliro hat on Instagram, man, that made our day. So more swag coming your way. But if you could just take a few moments, great to see you.
First and foremost, man, it's an honor and a privilege to be on. But I love that hat, man. That hat is probably one of the most comfortable hats. I worked out in it yesterday, actually. So I love it. But it's an honor, it's a privilege to be on with you guys. I hope everybody is safe. I hope everybody's family is doing well. But I want to start off, as you guys know, I start off my days with quote cards. And so I want to read a few to you guys from today. And the first one reads, "Always know in your heart that you are far bigger than anything that can happen to you." The second one reads, "I think these difficult times have helped me to understand better than before how infinitely rich and beautiful life is in every way, and that so many things that one goes around worrying about are of no importance whatsoever." And the third one reads, "I believe that everything happens for a reason. People change so that you can learn to let go. Things go wrong so that you can learn to appreciate them when they're right. And sometimes good things fall apart so better things can fall together." And so I was talking to one of my buddies a few days ago, and he was like, "Ink, what's your perspective on all of this, man?" And right around that time, I was on Twitter, and I was scrolling, and I saw a tweet that I thought was so profound and beautiful. And it was a lady. And she said in the tweet, she said, "How blessed are we that during the country shutdown, our children can still have access to virtual education." Said, "How blessed are we that during the country shutdown, we can still go to the grocery store and get our essential needs? How blessed are we that we can get on the Zoom call with our companies and our coworkers and we can have fun. And if it's something that we need to flesh out, we really need." And so the beautiful thing about adversity is I firmly believe it introduces us into who we really are as people. But the quote says it, we judge the character and caliber of people not by where they stand in times of comfort and convenience, but where they stand in times of challenge and controversy. And this event, right, like the negative side of it is it's impacted a lot of people in a lot of different ways. But I firmly believe the positive side of it is when it ends, a lot of people are going to come out of this thing a lot different. Like I told one of my buddies, I said, a year from now, you will have people with two different perspectives about the opposition. People that will look back on it and say, because of the corona, because of the COVID-19, this is why I'm not producing, and this is why I'm not at the level that I should be at. And then you will have people that will point back at it and be thankful and be grateful for the opposition because it introduced them into a version of themselves that they didn't know exist. And so a lot of people hear me say, my injury is the third best thing that's ever happened to me in my life. And I think they hear it and think it's just words, but don't really understand why. And so I want to share with you guys real quick, and I won't be before you long. But when my injury happened, of course, I shared with you guys, it was a brachial plexus avulsion. And when they put me in that process, that 2-year process, and they ordered me the best pieces of equipment on the face of this planet, they flew me back and forth from Tennessee to Rochester, Minnesota, best physicians in the world. And I had to go to this rehab for my arm 6 to 7 days a week. And before the process started, they told me go to 5 people I love and I respected and tell them what I was up against and see what they would say. Because they said I could go through the process and my arm still could not work. I could go through the process, my fingers still could not work. I could go through the process and I could still not be able to hug my mother, my 3 little sisters. If I got married one day, play with my children the way that I wanted to. And so I went to them and everybody told me, Inky, don't do it, right? And their basis was they can't guarantee you anything. And I said to them, I thought that's what a champion was, right? I thought that's what a warrior was. They can attack any situation and they didn't need any guarantees because their drive, their dedication, their concrete commitment is not predicated upon external forces. And I went back to the doctors and I said, sign me up. And he said to me, are you sure? I said, 100%. And I got into it, and I'm a pretty optimistic guy by nature. And every single day I would get up off the table and I would say, are you seeing anything? No, ain't, come back tomorrow. And I would rush because I couldn't even feel my back, right? And I remember rushing to the shower and try to turn the water on cold, hoping I could just get filling in my back. And they would be putting these needles in my back and poking me. And it was just a process that was long. Days were long. And a year and a half into that process, I got up off that table and I grabbed my PT's shoulder one day. He slid from under it and he went to walk off, and I jogged over to him. And as I spent him around, I'll never forget, he was crying. And when he said, "Inky, I'm sorry, but we're not seeing anything, and you will probably never be able to use that arm and that hand another day for the rest of your life." And I responded to him physically. He was like, "What do you mean physically?" I said, "Physically, I can't use it." I said, "But I will use this arm and his hand." In other words, I will use this situation and this circumstance every day of my life for the rest of my life by the way that I live my life, because I would never allow a situation or circumstance to dictate or determine the way that I live my life, right? Like I saw an interview with a nurse and a journalist, and it was so inspiring, man. And the journalist was asking the nurse, "How are you guys doing this?" Right? Like every single day you're going into an environment and you know you can be exposed to the COVID-19. Like, how are you and your coworkers doing your job? And when the journalist said job, the nurse kind of looked at him, and the nurse said, "Job?" Nurse said, "This is not a job." Nurse said, "This is my calling. This is my mission. This is what I feel I've been put on this earth to do." And so it doesn't matter if it's COVID-19, if it's the Spanish flu, if it's Ebola, I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna do what I feel I've been commissioned to do, regardless of the opposition and the adversity, because my driving force to why I do what I do is different, right? Like I firmly believe in life, we don't burn out because of what we do. We burn out because life makes us forget why we do it. And what better situation and what better time than a situation like this to make us forget why we do what we do and why we started in the first place, right? Like I just want one thing from all of us. Like we're all adults, right? Like we got children, spouses, right? And people look at me and they say, "Man, Inky, he's a motivational, inspirational guy." And I'm cool with it because I'm passionate about what I do. But I firmly believe more than inspiration, more than motivation, as adults, we need to be reminded more times than not about what's important, right? About why we started doing what we were doing, about the fire that we lit in the first place when we said, "Man, we're gonna do this and we're gonna crush it," and not allow situation or circumstances to dictate our motivation, our inspiration, and our concrete commitment, right? The commitment that says, "I am going to stay true to what I said I would do long after the mood that I've set it in has left," and tie that into the ultimate conviction. The question that I pose to myself every single day is, can I be committed to the process of what I'm doing without being emotionally attached to the results of what I'm doing? In other words, if the situation and circumstance is not what I want it to be, can I still show up and act as if it's day one and give everything I got to it? I got a challenge for all of us, me included. Every single day, can we wake up and find something to be grateful for? And can we find somebody to be a blessing to? Because this is just a snapshot. And the thing that we can't do is make a permanent decision to stop and not give our best over a temporary condition and situation. It was an honor, guys. I wish you guys nothing but the best, man. And God bless you guys.
Awesome, Ink. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you guys.
I'll unmute everybody so you can say thanks and
Thank you.
goodbye to Inky.
Thank you.
Thanks, Inky.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.